All right, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. I'm going to give you 3 lines from 3 totally different stories, and I want you to think about what they could possibly have in common. You ready? Here's the first one.
Oof, chilling, right? Can almost feel that cold sea breeze. It's a warning, a bit of folklore just dripping with dread.
And then there's this. A full-on cosmic curse spoken by a god who just lost his throne. This is huge. It's violent. It's the kind of story that literally forges a universe. And finally, this. Yep, no curses, no ghosts, just a relentlessly, almost hilariously predictable email. The stakes could not possibly be lower. So, a haunted beach, a vengeful god, and a super dull dinner party. What in the world could they have in common? I mean, on the surface, absolutely nothing, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see how they're all essential tools from the exact same storytelling toolkit, each one designed for a very, very specific job. So let's grab our first tool from the kit, the story that's built to thrill us, to get our hearts pounding. Let's look at the anatomy of fear. Our first stop is Dumas Beach in India. And the setup here, it's a total classic. You've got a group of friends, you've got these local legends about a haunted cremation ground, and of course, you have that fatal decision to just ignore all the warnings. That unsettling black sand is really just the beginning. Okay, so here's where it gets really cool. A good ghost story isn't just one big jump scare. It's built like an architect would build a house, brick by terrifying brick. First, you lay the foundation with the legend, the grandmother's warning, the history of the place. Then, step 2, you add the warning signs. You know, a weird local guy talking about bodies under the sand. That really ramps up the tension. Then, boom, step 3 is the encounter itself, a full-on assault on the senses, the smell of burning wood, weird voices, actual apparitions. And finally, step 4, the aftermath, which leaves everyone, the characters and us, with this chilling, haunting feeling. So, when you boil it all down, stories of fear are not just random, spooky stuff happening. No way. They are these finely tuned machines built from very specific parts. They use folklore to tap into those deep, old anxieties we all have. They use unsettling sensory details, like that black sand, to really get under our skin. They build suspense layer by careful layer, and it all leads to this intense emotional climax that leaves us feeling totally shaken, but also kind of thrilled. Okay, so we've got the story to frill down. Now let's pick up our second tool. This one isn't about fear, it's about making sense of the world. This is the architecture of myth. And to get how myths build order, you have to start where they all start, with chaos. But here's the thing, for the ancient Greeks, chaos wasn't just a mess. It was nothing, a huge gaping void, a terrifying emptiness. And the whole point of a myth is to take that nothingness and start filling it in, giving it shape, giving it meaning. And check this out. This is how they did it. Myth basically creates a timeline for everything. You start at the beginning, with earth and sky literally being born from nothing. Then you get the Age of Titans, this brutal power struggle where a son overthrows his father. That leads to the Titanomachy, this epic 10-year war. And finally, you land in the Age of Olympus, where the winners divide up the entire universe and create a new system of rules. It's a really violent story, for sure. But do you see the pattern? It's a story that literally wrestles that terrifying, empty chaos into an order we can actually understand. And even the characters show this shift from chaos to order. The Titans, they're basically walking natural disasters, raw, elemental power. But the Olympians, they're politicians, they're schemers. They rule with alliances and laws and have all these very human-like feelings like jealousy and ambition. So their victory is basically the story of civilization taming the wild, untamable forces of nature. So why do we even care about this stuff? Well, it's because these stories are tackling the biggest questions we have. You know, where did we come from? Why is there order in the universe? What does it even mean to be a hero? By creating this huge, epic story, myths give us a framework, a way to make sense of our own lives. They turn a chaotic existence into a meaningful one. Okay, we've had heart-pounding fear. We've had cosmic meaning. Now, get ready for the weirdest tool in the entire kit, the story that's designed to do absolutely nothing, or, well, something very specific, to soothe. This is the comfort of the mundane.
And it all kicks off with a detail like this one. The dinner party invitations get sent at exactly 10:12 a.m. Not 10, not quarter past, 10:12. Why? Because it's steady. It's predictable. It's this tiny little anchor of perfect control in a world that so often feels completely out of control. And believe it or not, the entire story is built out of details just like this.
And then you meet the guests. Oh boy. These people are a masterclass in being, predictable. Alan wears polite, graying clothes. Judith never brings a gift, not to be rude, but just because that's the routine. And Peter's big claim to fame? He nearly bought an expensive kettle once. See? These aren't characters designed for drama. They're designed to be anchors of absolute predictability. So you're probably thinking, what is the point of a story where literally nothing happens? And that's it. That is the point. By getting rid of all the conflict, all the surprise, all the drama, the storyteller creates this little safe space, a narrative sanctuary. The intense focus on things like cutlery and bin collection times is a tool to build a world where everything is exactly as it should be. It's a story designed to lower your heart rate. It's narrative comfort food. Okay, let's pull back. The ghost story, the creation myth, the world's most boring dinner party. It's time to lay out our storytelling toolkit and see how all these different pieces actually fit together. So, what's the one thing they all have in common? It's this. They are not just stories. They are powerful, precision-engineered tools, each one crafted to satisfy a really deep and fundamental human need. And this right here, this is the whole shebang. It lays it all out perfectly. You've got your story of fear, which meets our need for excitement and catharsis by using suspense and sensory detail. You've got the story of meaning, which answers our need for understanding and order by using archetypes and origin stories. And finally, the story of comfort, which gives us the security and calm we crave through repetition and a total lack of conflict. And honestly, here's the best part. Once you see this toolkit, you start seeing it everywhere. You understand why that horror movie works so well, or why a creation myth feels so important, or even why a quiet, simple little story can feel so good. And knowing this stuff makes you a better reader, a better watcher, and for sure, a much more effective storyteller in your own life. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you go to tell a story, whether it's to your friends, at work, or just to yourself, think about your toolkit. What are you really trying to do? Are you building for a thrill, for understanding, or for comfort? Because once you know why you're telling the story, you can pick the perfect tool for the job. So, which one are you going to choose?